welcome to yet another edition of Time Pass for the New Indian Express. I have with me the lovely Chunky Panday, who's always smiling and always very pleasant. We've seen him from Aakhe to Akhri Pasta, the Indo-Italian in Houseful, which is really sort of, recreated and reinvented you, Chunky. So thank you for joining us. And how does it feel to make your digital debut at the pretty ripe old age, right?
Yeah,
And
absolutely. My beard is so ripe right now.
yes, and you're not playing a very nice man, right? In Abhay too.
Oh, you don't want to meet this man ever because he's gonna eat you up if he meets you.
Literally, I believe. So, you know, how has it been to make that transition from the good guy to the really evil guy in a really long and eventful career?
I mean, as you know, when I started off with all these multi-starers and playing the hero and sometimes
Yeah,
the second hero in the films. And they were normally very one-dimensional characters because they were good guys. They wooed the heroines and they did all the nice things for society.
hmm,
But then came a little darker shades of me, like the character like Baban, which I played in Tezab.
yeah,
Again, there was a character I played in Vishwatma.
yeah.
Again, he was a conventional hero, but he had a little darker element to him. Uh, but then finally, when I came down doing these characters and I started getting like films like Apna Sapna Mani Mani, where I played like a Nepali Don.
Yeah.
So I actually put a very comic element to that character who was a dark character.
Right.
And then Akhri Pasta, which is somewhere my alter ego, the guy who wants to say everything and just say, I'm joking,
Yeah,
and try
yeah,
to get away with it.
right.
But playing these characters have been, especially this character has been very interesting because this is genuinely a three-dimensional character. He's got so many, not only layers, but he's got so many faces. He's really Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde.
Hmm.
He's this very sweet uncle in the day who runs a beautiful Xerox copying shop, and sells stationery. He's a loving husband to his wife.
Right.
But he's got this element which is so disturbing that that's what really scares you, that you can really think that maybe this man lives next door
Yeah.
and maybe we have a killer living next door. So
Right.
yeah, that's what, and this is actually based on a real true life story. So
Scary.
yeah, scary.
So, Abhay 2 is a streaming season that has returned for a streaming series that has returned for the second season, and
Yes.
you're the antagonist to Kunal Kemu's protagonist,
Yes.
and you've changed your physicality as well, Chunky. You're
Yeah,
not.
well.
Yeah.
Okay, so I've always had this whitish hair, so I didn't need to use anything on that. But I changed my walk completely. I introduced a paunch on my stomach, like a big stomach, and I put in a little limp in my walk, a slouch in my stance,
Right.
and just the way he speaks and the glasses which he wears. I actually picked it up from an old school teacher of mine who
Oh
was,
no.
yeah, he was a very beautiful, lovely teacher and a very kind teacher and a very soft-spoken teacher, but he had a horrible temper. And when he lost his temper, it was so scary. And in those days, it was very normal to hit kids with canes and rulers and stuff. So he used to paste the shit out of us. So I, as a kid, I remember I was very, very young. I used to think, man, this guy must be a real killer at home. He must be going home and murdering kids. So, when this role got offered to me, I tried to, design it around what that man looked like and
Right.
the way he spoke. So you'll find this very beautiful person, but he's very disturbing. Yeah.
So, Chunky, even after so many years, what makes you excited about getting into a role? Is there a sense of excitement, a sense of anticipation? I'm doing something new. How many movies have you done? Over 80?
Yeah, I've done about 80 films and I've done like a few TV shows where I've been a judge and stuff like that. And then this is my first outing with the OTT platform. But now suddenly there have been a lot of offers coming in on the OTT platform, and I'm very excited because it's a great platform. You can experiment a lot.
Mm.
There's no censorship, so that makes things even easier.
Right.
But you can really play around with a lot of creativity on this. There's no thing of box office pressure and stuff. So I'm actually enjoying this.
Right.
And a character like this, when you get, then I guess it makes it even more interesting.
Right.
I I have been experimenting with darker roles. Like 3 years ago, I did a film called Begum Jaan with Vidya
Yes,
Balan.
Vidya Balan, of course.
Then last year was a good year for me because I had 4 releases last year.
Yeah,
I had Saho with Prabhas,
yeah. You were the villain there.
yes,
Yes,
and then I had my Houseful, my
of
favorite,
course.
Houseful 4. Then I had a film with Sanjay Dutt called Prasthanam,
Yes.
and again I played a darkish character. And then I had Jawani Janeman with Saif Ali Khan.
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah, so I mean, 2019 and early 20s was very exciting for me. Yes.
So, Chunky, it's very interesting to see someone like you who's actually the son of two doctors and one very well-known cardiac surgeon. I believe he's quite an institution. There's a road named after him as well, right?
Yeah, it's like a chalk named after my dad,
Yeah,
and he's no more with us. But I must confess, he was always my role model, and I really wanted to be a doctor. Really, really, because as a kid, I was told, like, all my relatives and family friends that, "Oh, tu to bade ban ke doctor hi banega, just like your dad."
right.
And I must confess, I really, really tried. I tried very hard. In fact, I got a degree called MBBF.
What looks
Stands
like
for metric में बार बार fail.
I knew it was something like that. But what happened? You were not good academically,
No, I was good, but maybe I just couldn't concentrate, and maybe I just didn't have the aptitude, or maybe I was just not cut out to be so.
right?
And they say, sometimes a profession skips a generation.
Yeah.
So, when I had my girls, and especially Ananya, I thought maybe Ananya will become a doctor because she was really good in studies, and she's like got a photographic memory with things. So I can call her intelligent. But she chose to join movies.
So there's nothing you can do. That's something that obviously is in the Pandey blood now. But
Yes.
was your father around when you began in movies? What did he think of it?
Yes, he was very, very, very excited, and in fact, he told me that when I came home and told them one fine day I'd returned from the US, I'd won a free ticket to the US, and when I returned home,
For what?
I
What did you win a free ticket for?
had a free ticket to go to the US.
For what? What?
Okay,
How?
so yeah, so what had happened was there was someone who needed some help with a show happening,
Okay.
and it was a Kishore Kumar show,
Okay.
and I helped that person, and that person gave me a free ticket to go as a groupie on the show, like a helper on the show.
Right.
So when I went on that show and I traveled with Mr. Kishore Kumar, and I remember there was Amol Palekar on that show, and there were a few people on that show, I realized, being an actor or a singer had so many advantages. You were like, loved by so many people, and you got to travel the world. And I was just about 21, and I was trying a lot of other things in my life. I finished my graduation and I was trying different businesses and things. They were not really working. And then I said, man, this is not a bad profession.
Hmm.
And then I was in LA. My cousin lived in LA, and I'd gone to pick him up. He used to work in an acting school, my cousin.
Hmm.
And I went to pick him up, and his class was not over. So I was waiting for him to come out. And this lady comes up and tells me, she spoke to me in Spanish.
Hmm.
I couldn't understand that. So I said, no, I speak English. So she says, are you in the entertainment? Are you in the movie business? Are you an actor? So I said, no, but why? So she gave me a card, and she was actually a casting director. And she says, if you ever change your mind, call me.
Oh,
So I had no idea of getting into movies, but getting that card, and it actually.
hmm.
But then I knew Hollywood is a very difficult place.
Hmm.
Let me come back to my own country and at least try here. So I came home and I told my parents, listen, mom and dad, don't get too shocked, but I really want to enter movies. And I thought they'll get really angry. But my dad said, well, if you want to do that, then you have to train to get into movies.
Right.
You've done your college, but that's not enough.
Right.
So I started training in acting and horse riding and different things, whatever I could do. And then I would go and audition for movies.
Right.
I started modeling to make some money. And yeah, it was a process. It was a journey. And then I auditioned for a lot of television shows. I remember Mahabharat was being made. I auditioned
Oh,
for that.
for
I
which
lost
role?
out there.
For which role?
So Arjun's role I had auditioned for.
Interesting.
And then I had auditioned for Haiba Films.
Okay.
And I remember I didn't get that. Then I remember I auditioned for something for N. Chandra, for Pratikar. That was just before Tezab, what he
Before
made.
Tezab, yeah.
And I remember that time he told me, he says, you're not suited for this role because this is a role of an inspector. But I'm going to make something very big very soon and I'm going to think of you then.
Yeah.
So that's when Tezab came a few years later. And then I actually met the producer of my first film in the toilet of a five-star hotel.
And no less than Pehlaj Nehlani.
Can you believe it? Can you believe it? So, there I was wearing a chudidar kurta and I couldn't open my nada of the chudidar because I really wanted to.
Too much information, Chunky.
I was shouting and screaming, someone help me in the toilet, in the men's toilet. And then suddenly he decided to help me. And we got into this conversation. And, in that time, there was no internet. So I didn't know what he looked like. But I'd heard his name because he had just given Govinda the best launch possible in Ilzam.
Yeah.
And then in the conversation in the bathroom, he said, I'm looking for a new boy. What do you do? I said, I model. He says, come and meet me tomorrow. And that's how my career started. It started from a toilet of a hotel. Yeah.
With your pajama not opening. My God, I've not heard this detail. But Chunky, you're also a very interesting storyteller, and you also seem everybody's best friend. You seem to be at every party, and you're always smiling. I mean, how does it work? How do you manage to be everywhere and never seem to lose your cool, and everybody seems to love you? So, what is the secret?
I think I'm a very content person, and I instead of running the race, sometimes I like to become a spectator and watch.